Oh man, this is going to be so good! Xpand Rally, a racing game that was released 15 years ago, made by a Polish company, Techland. And even though it's been 15 years after its release, it is still considered an amazing achievement in the gaming industry, or should I say, a colossal achievement in the gaming industry. Whenever it was gameplay mechanics, graphics, the fact that this game had no story, everything just clicked. And since it's the game's 15th anniversary, I thought to myself, hey, why not to make a video essay about this game? Pros, welcome to Xpand Rally 15 years later. Right now, you're watching the menu screen. There are a lot of options, and honestly, I don't know which one to cover first. Let's start with the Rally Championship. This game has so many championships. I can't even count all of them because there are just so many. In other words, this game has 77 unique races. Of course, there are many similarities between some races, but for the most part they are very unique. Remember when I said that this game has no story? Personally, I think this is one of the best things in this entire game. Honestly, this game doesn't even need a story. Why? Because I think a story would ruin the magic of the game. You start the game by creating your own profile, you put your name, and then you choose the mode you want to play. Arcade or simulation. Sorry, I don't have a footage for this one. After that, you go straight to the main menu, where you can do anything you want. You can choose any option available. Let's say you chose Rally Championship. You click Start, but you have to get your own car. That's where we get to the cars shop. In the beginning of the game, you can only choose 3 cars from group P1, but later on you can get cars from groups P2, P3, O1, O2, O3R1, W1R2, and the best group in the game, B1. Every car is different in its own way. For example, the P1 group consists of very slow cars, and group B1 consists of the best cars in the game, etc, etc. So let's say you bought your first car. Now it's time to test it. But how? It's simple. By visiting the testing track. Here we have the testing track, set in Germany. Here's a fun fact. If you have the German version of the game, you get the same track, but instead of Germany, it's Poland. Anyways, this track is perfect for practicing and for testing your new car. Why? Well, first of all, you can test your car on any surface you want. And there's a lot of it. Tarmac, gravel, grass, and many more. Second of all, this entire map is split into 2 different parts. The first part has a very typical yet very well made tarmac track, a few smaller gravel tracks, and one gravel track with water, a huge gravel field, and a huge, or should I say gigantic, tarmac field. In other words, choose what you want. The second part of the track, however, is a road around a lake. You can see it right here. Basically, you can practice sharp turns on this part of the map. Alright, we're done here. Now let's move on to the next part, which is other maps. This game includes 5 different and unique maps. Or 6 if you also include the testing track. From the easiest one to the hardest one, we have USA, Arizona, Poland, Kenya, Ireland, and Finland. Let's start with USA, Arizona. Go! The surface on this map is always 100% dust. On this map, you will find many possibilities to cut corners to help you win the race. The map itself is also very easy because there are no stones or traps slowing you down. You don't have to be an experienced gamer to easily memorize this map. A professional gamer should notice this part right here. Here you can easily help yourself by using water to your advantage. Just go as fast as you can because the AI can make mistakes there. And because of that, you can win the race. Also, make sure you don't use your brakes too much or else you might actually fail. Oh, and if you haven't noticed already, this game still looks phenomenal, even 15 years after its release. Look at it. Look at this bridge. Look at those canyons. Look at this road. It looks clean. It looks good. It looks realistic. Many people back in the 90s wished they would have something like this. One last thing before I'm done with USA Arizona. There are times when this map can be difficult, but that's only when it's raining. You should be very careful there because the surface is very slippery and you might crash because of that. Other than that, it's the easiest map in the game, very fun, very enjoyable, and once again, it looks amazing, and once again, it's very, very fun. Now let's move on to Poland. Go! Finally, a racing game in which we can race in Poland. It turns out that in this game, Poland is actually one of the best maps in the entire game. Why? Let me tell you. First of all, there are more types of surface. There is tarmac, which you're seeing right here, and there's also gravel, lots of it. Because of that, there's a variation, basically. In some championships, there will be tracks in which you will be racing on asphalt. Well, it says surface asphalt 100% or tarmac, whatever. And there are sometimes you can find mixed surfaces. For example, 75% gravel and 25% tarmac. For the mixed tracks, you need to actually invest a lot of money to your car or on your car, whatever really. More on that later, but just a small spoiler. For these tracks you will have to buy different kinds of tires, more upgrades, etc, etc. But don't worry pros, because this map is still easy. Why? Well, let me tell you. First of all, there are no stones and no traps, so you can still cut corners to gain advantage. Oh, and one more thing. If you think that USA Arizona didn't look good, look at this map right now. Look at it. Do you see how beautiful it looks? Now it's time to talk about Kenya. Go! Kenya is very similar to USA Arizona, mostly because of its surface. 100% dust. Therefore, using your car or steering your car will be very similar here. Also, it's worth mentioning that Kenya is USA but harder. Don't worry, it's not incredibly difficult or anything. It's just harder. Well, there is one thing that needs to be mentioned. This map has so many stones. Stones in Xpand Rally are really dangerous. I wish I had an example to show you, but I have one, but I actually can't put it here. To fully understand what I'm saying, I recommend you watch one of my episodes of my Xpand Rally Let's Play, the one that's titled 1 Race 5 Laps. Then you will understand what I mean. You can still cut corners, but it's actually harder to do compared to USA Arizona. If you don't know what to do, don't worry. Your pilot is there to help you. He will inform you where to cut corners and what to do. And yeah, basically he tells you what to do. And he's very accurate, so make sure you listen to him. Now it's time to talk about Ireland. Go! Oh, Ireland, Ireland, Ireland. Honestly, there's not much I can say. Well, the first thing that comes to your mind when racing on this map is those effing stones, or those effing stone fences. When you are first introduced to Ireland, well, it's hard to say, but okay, let's just say that the game actually is difficult at this point. That means the cars are very fast, tracks are harder, etc, etc. Ireland is that type of map where you can't really go fast. You actually have to be really slow to make progress. Make careful turns, etc, etc. There's not much I can say about this track, really. Oh wait, actually there are two more things I have to say. One, basically this map is difficult to master, and two, it looks beautiful just like every other map in the game. And again, look at it. Look at it. Look at it! I will force you to look at it. I will grab your head and point it. And point my finger at your screen. I will literally force you to look at it. Yeah, sorry. I got very emotional there. Now it's time to talk about Finland. Go! If you think that Ireland is the hardest map in the game, you're sadly mistaken. What makes Finland so hard? Well, that's an easy question to answer. The surface. In Finland you can find snow, icy asphalt, and ice, which you're seeing right now. No matter where you'll go, you will always see slippery tracks, slippery snow, slippery ice, slippery icy asphalt, blah blah blah, and the list goes on. You can't go too fast or you'll game end yourself. You can't go too slow or else the AI car will be faster than you. You cannot do anything basically. There are no stones in Finland, but there are so many trees and traps. If you get caught in a trap, you will get stuck for, let's say, 10-15 seconds, and because of that you will lose your lead and you will be really angry. Trust me. Basically, this map requires skill. You don't have skill? Okay, let me put it this way. No skill? Then there's no way you can complete any track in Finland. And to be honest, that's actually what I love about this map. The fact that you actually have to try, actually you have to do your best to complete any track in Finland. Because of its difficulty, this is actually my favorite map in the game. And also because I love winter in general, but that's another story. Alright pros, we're done with maps. Now let's talk about tuning. Tuning is a very important part of the game. Without it, you actually cannot complete the game. You can buy upgrades for your engine, upgrades that can improve your controls, upgrades for brakes, better brakes basically, and something, I don't know what this fourth thing means, I'm sorry. The overall look of the car, tires, and other things like GPS and paintings. Well, basically how your car, basically the colors of your car. Like I've said before, every upgrade is important. Without it, you can't complete the game. Here's an interesting fact. In the beginning of the game, you can only buy 6 kinds of tires, but as you progress in the Rally Championship, you unlock more and better tires. Some upgrades can make your car faster, some upgrades can improve your controls, etc, etc. I guess I really don't have that much to say about tuning. Can we just move on to the next segment instead? Thank you! Now it's time to talk about game modes. Go! There are 2 game modes in Xpand Rally. Well, in Rally Championship at least. The first one is a normal race, which you're watching right now, and the other one is a freestyle race. I'm having a feeling that I don't really need to explain the normal race, because, well, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you know what, let me explain it, because why not? Well, the normal race is, like I've said before, something that you're watching right now. You basically go from point A to point B. You basically race against an AI car to win money, or in some cases new cars. Normal races are basically I don't know, 90% of the game. In some cases, some normal races have more than one lap. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's only one race that has more than 5 laps. This is the Endurance Evolution Special Event. In this race, you will have to go through the same track 5 times, because this track has 5 laps. Get it? But surprisingly enough, there are many positive things I can say about him. I'm not going to tell you about every single good thing, because I don't have enough time really, even though I'm actually putting my time and effort into this project. But that's never mind really. First of all, well, these normal races are actually very entertaining. I always feel pumped up, or just pumped in general, when I think about going through a normal race, because truth be told, they are so entertaining. Another thing why I like these stages a lot, the graphics, man, this game looks beautiful. Oh wait, I've said that already, right? Oh man. And the third reason why I like this game mode is because of the controls. This game works smoothly, the controls are amazing, and going through those races, well, it's a lot of fun. Like really, I recommend everybody. Now it's time to talk about the second game mode, Freestyle Races. Go! Freestyle races are very similar to normal races, but there are some differences. For instance, you can't get a penalty. Oh, right! I completely forgot about penalties. Okay, listen. Here's the thing. Hear me out. In normal races, and to some extent in freestyle races also, you can get penalties. In normal races it works a bit like this. If you hit a pedestrian, an animal, or your car will end up flipped upside down. But Patrick, you asked, but you said just a second ago that there are no penalties in freestyle races. Well, I lied. There's only one way you can get a penalty, and that's by flipping your car upside down, actually. In freestyle races, you also go from point A to point B, but instead of checkpoints, you have to go through green portals. There is one red portal, and it always appears at the very end of the stage. Basically, the red portal is the finish line. Another difference is that there are no pedestrians, no animals. Maps still have the same layout pretty much. There are still, for example, there are still stones in Kenya, Ireland, etc, etc. There are still some traps on other maps, but now I think it's safe to say that I've explained this game mode to you. Now let's move on. Arcade or simulation? This is a very important question, you know? Okay, so what's the difference? Arcade is easier, simulation is harder. End of story, pretty much. But, no, seriously. Arcade makes your car more responsive. Your controls are more responsive. It's easier to win races, and etc, etc. When it comes to simulation, the main difference are turns. Turns are very difficult. Yeah, they are very difficult. They are just difficult to do, pretty much. When it comes to the speed is pretty much the same. Okay, in conclusion, arcade is easier, simulation is harder. But Patrick, what about the difficulty? No worries, no worries. I'll explain everything right now. The difficulty is basically arcade or simulation. Well, the game itself is actually pretty hard, but it's not as hard as you think. Well, you have to keep in mind that computer AI also makes mistakes just like you, so you don't have to drive perfectly to win first place, but basically the game is hard. You have to put time, effort, and you need to have a lot of skill if you really want to win everything. The perfect example of this is the very first driver challenge. And I mean really. 15 years ago, when I first entered the driver challenge, I would have never thought that this opponent that you're seeing right now will be so much faster than me. When it comes to driver challenges, you have to grind and grind to buy more upgrades, or if possible, better cars. Now it's time to talk about other modes: single race, multiplayer, replays, and etc. Let's start with single race. As you can see on the screen right now, if you complete every race in your career, or should I say, if you unlock every race in your career, you can play them again, or you can practice. You can see what they're about by before actually attempting those races in career mode. So that's a good thing. You can change the weather, the time, and every car is free, every upgrade is free. You can choose any car you want, any tires, any upgrades, anything. This thing is there for you to experiment. You can also see that dodatkowe sign, which means bonus stages. Those are mods. If you have mods, you can install them to the game. You click on dodatkowe, and then you can play mods, basically. Now let's talk about multiplayer. Well, here's the thing, I don't have any gameplay footage from multiplayer or in multiplayer. Sorry about that, I am really sorry. But you can make your own server, you can join other people's servers, and you can race against real people, and they are in racing in real cars. Not They are not ghost cars, unless unless you choose that setting, but I assume you don't, so don't even pay attention to this. So basically you can play on any track in the game, or if you have mods installed, you can play on tracks, on modded tracks basically, with other players. I wish I had footage for this one. I could put a link to in the description down below, but I don't think it's worth it. And now let me show you the replays and ghosts. When you finish a race, or when you game end yourself in a stage, because there's a possibility to do that, I've talked about that in my real Let's Play. Well, here's the thing. You can save your replay and watch it again, and when it comes to ghosts, you can save the ghost of your car and race against it. You can see if you can beat yourself or not. Alright, I think this video is long enough. In conclusion, I absolutely love this game. Even though it's been 15 years after its release, I think it's safe to say that this game holds up pretty well. Now, of course, there are a lot of things I didn't talk about in this video, but that's because I can talk about this game for ages, like literally for ages. There is just so much to talk about. There are so many things to talk about, and honestly, I actually cannot talk about everything in a single video. No, I won't be making a part 2 because, well, I've been making that video for a few days now, so I think I deserve a rest. So what's the moral of this video? Xpand Rally good. End of story. If you're still watching this video, thank you so much for watching, really, I appreciate it. But before the video ends, I actually have one thing to talk about. See this on your screen right now? It turns out a fan of mine has made a new channel banner for me, and it's the one you're seeing right now. This channel banner was made by Ikarmani, aka Printing Girl. She makes amazing stuff. She makes amazing videos on Instagram. She makes amazing projects like this one you're seeing right now. It's just great, let me tell you. So if you can, links to her Instagram accounts will be in the description down below. Please show her some love. Please show her how much you love her stuff, because really she makes amazing stuff, and I really thank her for making this for me. Well, this is the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and well, I'll see you next time, pros. Goodbye.